Hey guys, what's up? Ryan Dossie here, and in this particular video I want to talk about masterminds. More specifically, which one or ones you should join. I actually had a feature in, I don't remember what it was, Forbes or Entrepreneur, talking about how I decide which mastermind groups to join. And before I get into that content, I want to walk you guys through just some of the stuff that I've learned by paying to be a part of groups or communities. Now, there's a lot of people that are very anti-guru, all the information's free, there's no need to pay for it. And to an extent, that may be true. But in my experience, hiring a coach, a mentor, joining a mastermind group, buying a course that includes a mastermind group can shave literally years and tens of thousands of dollars off of your learning curve. Now, I want to go through some of the things that I've actually learned, some of the skills I've acquired, some of my return on these investments. But I want to put a disclaimer on this, and that this isn't my way of showing off or bragging or look at how cool or how great I am. For any of you guys that know me really well, that's not really ever my heart in anything. This is much more just like no BS. This is where I'm at. First one I want to touch base on is a course I bought into on Facebook ads from a guy named John Penberthy. John Penberthy and Jabril Agoro have been huge inspirations to me in business, life, really just interesting people to follow, even if you have no interest in kind of learning what they teach. I remember I decided I wanted to learn more about kind of this digital marketing thing, right? So I paid these guys $1,000. Actually, I couldn't afford the $1,000, so I did their 3-time payment plan, which I think was $333 a payment, or maybe a little bit, maybe $399 a payment. They made a little bit more money that way, but I didn't have the $1,000. I remember buying this course, and then like most people, I didn't really apply it, didn't really go through it, until one day I was kind of like, look, I don't have that much money. This was back in 2015, 2016. And I spent money on this, so I should really go through it and see what it is I can learn. Recently, I had somebody kind of go back and forth with me on one of my posts about Facebook ads, stating that they'd done $16,000 worth of free course sales on Instagram with no money spent, not counting their time or their staff's time or whatever. And I didn't want to drop my number, which was that we've added $600 grand in monthly recurring revenue on an annual basis off of $19,000 on Facebook ads. Now, that being said, that's absolutely nuts. But had I not bought that course, I wouldn't have learned how to do that stuff that then other masterminds showed me how to use and how to tie in systems and automation and things to really scale. But if I didn't know how to craft an ad, how to do targeting or any of that stuff, I wouldn't have that number. I've easily made 100 times return on that investment. Now, with that annual growth number, there's a different group that I hired, my brother and I, Justin, hired to help us grow our answering service, called Project Nuclear. And guys, they were not cheap. I won't throw out their number because I don't know what they charge currently, but I will tell you, and I'll even throw up the receipt. They wanted to be paid a few months in advance to hit a revenue goal, and it cost me $40,000. Now, when we hired them, we were at their bare minimum of people they would take on, and when we, in the past couple, I don't even think it's been a year yet, we've grown our answering service call Porter by over 600%. Now, that being said, the whole reason I wanted to grow my answering service is not a monetary thing, not a paying me thing, but I truly set out with the goal of revolutionizing the way people go direct to seller, and that is through hiring an acquisitions manager, having call porter field all the inbound stuff, do all the heavy lifting, and really making direct to seller marketing accessible for anyone. Making real estate investing much more profitable. And guys, the testimonies and stuff we get, I don't get emotional very easy, but when I hear from people that have full-time jobs that are able to do a couple deals a month part-time with my team involved, that's why I've risked all this money. That's why I've spent all of this money. That's why I've worked on all of this. Another group I'm a part of, Tucker Maryhugh, the Real Deals podcast. And I won't throw out Tucker's pricing because I don't know what he charges anymore, but not only has he been a really good sounding board for me, the people I've met in that group are incredible, but through a roundabout way is actually how I met my current business partner. Guys, in August of last year, I owned no rentals. We closed on numbers 46 and 47 for the year. We just inked a 12-unit building. Numbers 48 and 49 are under contract. My goal was 50, which was downright ignorant. I really shouldn't have even been able to hit that. But had I not bought into this group, I wouldn't have met people. I wouldn't have learned skills that allowed me to meet the right people who are quite frankly the reason I am where I'm at today. Now, this really isn't a pitch for any of these groups. And I've actually got a little bit of a confession here. I've been almost borderline prideful on not attending networking events, not going to other masterminds, not continuing to invest in myself and in my future. I kind of got to the point where I felt like, I know a lot more than a lot of these groups do. And while that's true in some extent, there's always going to be people that are further along than you. There's always going to be people that can teach you something. And, the last couple weeks, I actually spoke at 2 events. And, I learned stuff from people that are 6 months into this business. But the way they view something is a way I could stand to view something. So, don't be prideful. Make sure you're attending events. Just this week, there was 7, 8, and 9-figure business owners at one of the events I was at. People that I'm going to learn so much from. But that being said, had I not put myself out there, I wouldn't have. The other perk of mastermind groups is you've got to have somewhere where you're 100% transparent, raw, and you're teaching everything you're doing. I tend to give different pieces of myself, different pieces of my strategies of what I'm doing to buy all these houses, to raise money, to grow our service-based business. I tend to keep all this stuff really, really close to the vest, but I let different groups have certain things. And I've never before told everybody every single thing I'm doing in my real estate business. And one of the events I was at, I'll mention both of them. So I was at Dan Schwartz's event for Investor Fuse, which by the way is an incredible software. We just started playing with 2.0. I highly recommend people check it out. Now keep in mind it is beta software, so there's going to be glitches, you're going to have things go wrong. If you can't handle that, just wait till the full release is out. But I'm part of the beta testing group and I'm absolutely blown away with it. The other event I was at was Chris Rood's event. Now, talk about learning from people. I don't do signs. I tend to do a lot of direct mail, SEO. I'm very much removed from the brand. People at his event were the polar opposite. These people do bandit signs, billboards with their faces on them, buses with their faces on them. Tons of stuff that I was able to learn from these guys. But at Chris's event, I decided I was going to share everything with everybody in the room. Now, there's actually a live stream of this that cuts right before all the good stuff, because again, there's a time and a place to give everything, and it's almost it's a scarcity thing not to. Like, you're afraid that where you are is going to be the best you'll ever get or be, so you can't give it all, and that's just, squash that. So in front of, I think there was 125 people who I don't know their characters, don't know their backgrounds, don't know what they're going to do with the information I gave. But I honestly hope it benefits their business. I told Chris, hey man, I'm going to kind of give you like the nod, and I want you to cut the live stream. I've never done this before, but I just want to be 100% transparent with this entire room on my entire model, down to what my direct mail pieces look like, how I have the #1 ranking website, what tech pieces we use, where I'm pulling lists, bots, scrapers, some gray hat hacking. Literally just gave it all. And I felt freaking incredible after it. Felt good to share everything, to just be 100% open. The neat thing is, because I did that, I made contacts that will very easily in the next 12 months make me an extra 7 figures. I've got guys who have access to software tools that investors don't know even exist that are giving me access to them. New ways of prospecting that nobody's doing. That I had 4 or 5 guys come up to me and they said, hey, I've never seen any of that stuff you're doing, but I'm doing some other stuff that the rest of the world doesn't know about that I want to let you in on and I want your thoughts on. Guys, one of them's a freaking list source killer for those of you guys that are real estate investors. It's insane. And this is really just kind of scratching the tip of the iceberg of what I've learned, the relationships that have come out of this. I would not be where I am today. I would honestly probably be working for somebody else had I not kind of taken the leaps to join these groups. Now, how do I pick which ones I join? Because you don't want to just go and give Fortune Builders $50,000. I've never been through Fortune Builders training, so I can either, I'm judging off of information that I have. I don't have concrete data off of. Any sort of coaching, any sort of mastermind, there's always going to be success stories and people who didn't apply it and it didn't work out for. But what I'm talking about is more the groups full of just straight closers in your industry. These are the guys who are doing deals, they're buying and selling houses, they're buying apartment complexes, they're really where you want to be. So my big thing I look for in any group is, what do I hope to learn? Are the members of this group uniquely or extraordinarily successful in this niche? Guys, when we hired Scott Oldford, I had people tell me, hey, you need to check this guy out. I know you're interested in the direct mail, or not the direct mail, the digital marketing stuff. And this guy is like the person to watch. His cost was like, holy crap, that hurts, but I think we need to do it. And we did, and our goal was to get them to be to the point where they paid for themselves in 90 days. They did it in 6 weeks. Why I use these examples, though, is like, you don't want to join groups that are mediocre. You don't want to pay to learn from average. You really don't want to pay a premium to learn from average. So that being said, Chris Root's group, if you're looking to get into wholesaling and you're on a budget and you want to do more of the, bandit sign route, Chris is the #1 coach in the United States for that style of marketing for people just getting started. I just spent a week with him and some of their students and literally blown away. Tucker Merrihew's group, the Real Deals podcast group, if you're wanting to get into development, new construction, tear downs, direct to seller marketing, incredible group of people to be a part of. There's other groups that specialize more in cold calling. There's groups like Collective Genius, which we're actually in the process of trying to get into, that a lot of our clients are into. And, you want to pay to learn from the best in the world. So, that being said, though, you also have to look at your budget. So when you're starting out, you may not be able to afford to join a group that's a $20,000, $30,000 a year buy-in, and that's okay. There's other groups that can help you get to that level. My real challenge for you guys is to ask yourselves is to look at things less as I can't afford this, or that's too expensive, or that's nuts, and more, how can I afford this? What can I do to get into the position where this is accessible to me? The last thing I want to throw out there, because this is a total pet peeve of anybody who's successful that does any sort of coaching, mentoring, education, don't reach out to these groups and hit them with the, I'll tell you what, let me in for free, let me get into your course for free, and if it works, because you're so sure it will, because you charge money for it, I'll split profits with you. Guys, there's really not a bigger slap in the face than that angle. Not to mention, it's a total scarcity mindset thing. I'll be blunt, in this video I gave a lot of details. I gave some of our personal numbers, some of our personal metrics, stuff I really haven't shared anywhere. But I really am trying to run and manage a platform that's built on authenticity and integrity and not on scarcity. Let me know what questions you guys have. There's tons of other mastermind groups out there that I'm not a part of. We're working on, analyzing groups and finding other ones to join. But those are some of the ones I'm currently in. Definitely not all of them. And that's been my ROI. I mean, it has been literally multi 100x returns. Let me know any questions you guys have. If any of the groups that I've mentioned or something you're interested in, let me know, and I'm happy to make intros. I'll be blunt, I don't have affiliate deals set up with any of these guys. None of them know I'm even putting this video out there. So literally just to serve you, I'm happy to make those intros. We should have more of these videos more often. Sorry that they've been a little hit or miss. I spoke at a couple events. We had some staffing changes, but we're gonna have one going out once a week, and we're actually gonna be doing videos where we're gonna go through every deal I've bought, walk you guys through the case study, what we got it rented for, financials, what it looks like, really just kind of giving you like an in-depth view. Those will either be done by me and Noah, just me, just Noah. It'll kind of alternate, but I think that'll give you guys a lot of insight into how we're doing all of these kind of no money down deals. Until next time, hope you all have a fantastic week. I'm headed to Oregon next week to meet with our private lenders, but we'll still get a video out. Thanks, guys.